Hello, I'm Debbie Bell-Hosking in the FinextraTV virtual studio, and I'm joined by Jan Pilbauer, CEO, Al Etihad Payments. Jan, welcome.
Hello, Debbie. Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you join us here virtually. We're chatting about your journey in terms of your ISO 20022 based instant payments platform. Can you give us a little bit of background, Jan, and also the challenges that you faced?
Thank you, Debbie. Yes, I can certainly do that. So we are Al Etihad Payments, and we are a brand new national payments entity for the UAE. And we are a subsidiary of the central bank here in the UAE. And therefore, we try to do whatever we can for the people and businesses in the Emirates. And we do a lot of things. We run some backbone infrastructure. We switch card payments. We are building a brand new domestic card scheme. We are doing open finance. So we are definitely, quite busy. But last year we went live with a new ISO 20022 instant payments platform, and it's called ANI, which I was told, I don't speak Arabic, but I was told that in Arabic it means instant. And our objective is to allow the UAE economy to continue, thriving in a digital era and making the society a little bit less reliant on cash. And last but not least, of course, making sure that everybody gets financially included in this new digital time. And that's regardless if you have a traditional bank account, or if you have a wallet, or if you have a salary card. And you ask about challenges. So obviously, there are many challenges, but broadly, I think there are kind of three categories of challenges when it comes to implementing an instant payment solution. First is the design or build, basically making sure that you select the right partners, you discuss the use cases and what you are actually trying to solve, what kind of problems you are trying to solve, and making sure that you are building a fit for purpose solution, not something over engineered, which will never see the light of the day. Second is actually the onboarding, making sure that you have the critical mass, that you reach something we call a network effect. So when it comes to payment solutions, that's actually the only thing which makes a payment platform viable. And when we talk about instant payments, it's a completely different thing for many of the financial institutions to manage payments in real time. There are very strict SLAs. Payments are timing out if you are not responding quickly enough. There are real-time messages, APIs, and all of that. We have to make sure that fraud and risk management is in place, so people feel that the platform is secure. Which brings me to the third area of challenges, and that's the adoption. You have to convince people that this is something they should want to use. And that's obviously a multifaceted problem. You compete with cash, you have debit cards kind of living on the side, but you need to build this trust. You have to make it convenient for people. And you have to change people's habits, which I think is a challenge on its own.
Absolutely, changing people's habits is a big challenge, I can only imagine. So how did you work with your participants to get this step change implemented?
Yeah, so participants, generally, it's a broad term of licensed financial institutions which would like to interact with the platform. And in the case of UAE, it's not only the traditional banks, but it's also, we have exchange houses and we have other licensed financial institutions, fintechs, which can connect to the platform if they have the right license. So what is extremely important is the ongoing engagement. You need to make sure that these participants are actually part of your journey. You ideally want to co-design with them, so there are no surprises, and you are, not trying to kind of make them do something they don't understand or they don't want to do. Like 3D printing kind of changed manufacturing, that now you can 3D print your prototypes. You can do something similar also in developing payment systems. So even before the central platform is built, you can find a way how to prototype different things, how to test it with the participants, making sure that these things actually work the way you are intending them to work. And ideally, you should be able to simulate the platform somehow while it's being built. So you can validate that the messages the participants would be sending with each other are actually correct, that the APIs are being called and consumed properly. So what we cannot underestimate is the amount of time the financial institutions actually require to build their own backend infrastructure and also the channels, how the instant payment experience gets to the market, because it's a significant uplift for most of the financial institutions. So this development or build phase is something you have to manage very carefully and make sure that the central build, which you do as an operator in the center, and the builds at the edge are kind of synced up. Next step, which is very critical, and that's before you get into the industry testing, something we call industry testing, which is when the various participants start sending payments and non-financial messages between each other, is something we call self-certification. And basically, once a participant is ready and either they are done with their build or they have components of the build which they want to test, they can start testing against a simulator. Again, validating the messages, validating the API calls, and it's kind of against the virtual participants. So you don't run into issue like if something doesn't work, you don't know if it's a problem of one participant or the other participants or the central platform. You are trying to basically validate the builds of the different participants before you get into the complex industry testing. So that's something which is quite important. And then of course you need to do the full industry testing, the performance testing of the final platform, and onboard each of these participants. And in our case, we have 100-something banks and exchange houses and others who are joining the platform.
I'm smiling because we started out by asking you about your journey, and it clearly has been a great journey, but it's good to hear the nuts and bolts of the testing as well. So let's now talk about the benefits. What are the benefits you and your participants are seeing in terms of this implementation? And I understand you also work with Unifits on this.
Yeah, 100%. So there are multiple benefits of the platform itself, right? The instant payments are being deployed to make sure that people can divert from cash, that the banks can save on cash management, and basically the digital real-time through experience when you can easily send money from one person to another, from a person to a merchant, or from governments to people. Those are things which many countries around the world are trying to harvest. And there is even a research which shows that if you have well-functioning economy, usually you must have a well-functioning and friction-free payment system. When it comes to the technical benefits, so yes, we had a lot of partners. One of them is Unifits. And when I talk about creating these simulations, certification, and being ahead of the curve, trying to learn that something may not be built properly before you try to flip the switch and go live, that's where Unifits helped us a lot, because they created kind of this platform and environment where the participant could self-test, self-certified against this virtual participant, and we could see if certain things are going well or not going well, and react before it became larger problems. So I think when it comes to the proactiveness, that's where we get most of the value, and seeing things earlier in the journey.
And there's that word journey again. Jan, thank you so much for sharing this journey with us. It's been so interesting to hear all the background and everything that goes into it. And I'm sure you've only just touched the tip of the iceberg. So thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. It was great sharing our story and our journey with you. Thank you so much for having me.